By 1992, 19-year-old Alyssa Milano had a successful sitcom career, a solid family foundation, and worldwide popularity as Samantha Micelli from the hit TV show Who's the Boss. But after Who's the Boss ran its course, she faced the challenge of transitioning from child star to working actor.
When the show ended, it meant what's next? There isn't that same stability of working 7-hour days and having the weekends off. So she had to kind of find a way to create an edginess to her because she was kind of too old to be playing the family person now.
She didn't want to be seen as this cute, innocent girl or, the tough girl from Brooklyn. So what she did, and what a lot of young actresses do, is they sex up their career. They show that they can take a little clothing off, and that's a great way to gain some interest.
So she made the decision to take it a notch in a direction that no one would ever have expected and pose nude for a magazine called Bikini Magazine, just to sort of almost be like, hey, look, I'm not Samantha Micelli. I'm grown up. I'm in my 20s now.
And this spread in Bikini Magazine was the first step in redefining who Alyssa Milano was.
That's a huge shock. You see this girl growing up, and we remember her when she was 12 years old on Who's the Boss, and all of a sudden you see her topless. That's a big deal, and that's pretty insane to see.
So the boys who had been in love with her all those years were finally rewarded with, the real deal after fantasizing it for all these years.
Not surprisingly, shedding her clothes caused a stir in Hollywood.
I think anytime a star takes off their clothes in order to change their image, it is, maybe in the long run it works out, but it's seen as sort of a desperate move at the time. So I'm sure she felt like posing in bikinis was more akin to who she really was, just because it was another side of her that she had never been able to put on screen.
And so it was kind of natural for her to then take on the role of a vixen, to take on roles where she'd be suddenly playing someone a little sexier, somebody who'd be a love interest rather than a daughter. This was her opportunity to kind of just come into her own, because at 19 years old, this was what a 19-year-old would be doing.
It was a risk, and it was a risk maybe some would have advised her not to take, but ultimately, we wouldn't even be hearing her name right now if she hadn't made that seemingly minor decision that really was the catalyst for the next phase of her career.
Not long after the steamy Bikini Magazine hit newsstands, Alyssa was cast in the role of infamous bad girl Amy Fisher in the made-for-TV movie Casualties of Love, the Long Island Lolita story.
By taking this role, Alyssa sort of took the idea of the idyllic suburbs and just sort of completely flipped it. There couldn't be more disparate characters than Sam Micelli and Amy Fisher.
She had to be like, okay, so I took my clothes off, but I can also play the part. Like, I'm versatile in my acting. See, I played Samantha Micelli. I was this, good girl who lives in the suburbs with my, kooky dad, And now here I am playing one of the most notorious temptresses, murderesses, seductresses, of the 90s.
Joey, I want one of these shirts.
Sorry, we don't give these out to customers. But I'll give you a promotional T-shirt if you want one.
Wait a minute. You mean all the business I give you guys, I don't rate one of these shirts?
Her doing a TV movie on Amy Fisher isn't exactly an Oscar award-winning role, but she played this interesting character that was dirty and scandalous, and we are able to see that Alyssa Milano could play characters other than Samantha Micelli. People really liked it. It was a trashy role, but it was also a lot of fun to watch.
As Alyssa continued to work overtime at redefining her image and her career, her personal life was blossoming. After years on the high-profile dating circuit, by 1993, it appeared as if she was ready to settle down at the ripe old age of 21.
Alyssa got engaged to Party of Five Scott Wolf, who was the current male babe du jour.
Alyssa was in love, validating her feelings by adding Scott's initials to what was becoming a growing list of tattoos.
But it's really hard. Two actors in Hollywood dating each other, getting married, breaking up. It's not an easy thing. Your schedule's so busy.
Alyssa and Scott were both pretty big deals in the early 90s, and I think that it was really difficult for them given both of their schedules, given that her career was at a very difficult spot and his was on the rise, for them to really mesh.
And sadly, that's what tears everyone apart. That's why these relationships don't work, because you're based in a business that's solely about yourself. It's about the advancement of your career and also the advancement in how the public eye views you. When two people are both working on this thing together, unfortunately, your relationship doesn't always work.
The tattoo would last longer than the engagement, as Scott and Alyssa called it off almost as quickly as they had fallen in love. The breakup saddened Alyssa, and she threw herself into her work. But her career choices were often ridiculed, especially in the court of public opinion.
She played the lead role in Embrace of the Vampire, where she does play this virginal character who goes off to college, you know, living this pristine life, and then gets seduced by a vampire and then turns evil. So this went straight to video. This wasn't exactly like an Emmy Award-winning feature, but this was a continuation of Bikini, of Amy Fisher's story. So she was now on this pigeonholed path.
Have you come to see if I'm okay too, Milo?
Well, yeah. You were taking a pretty heavy trip back there.
And what do you want to do to make me feel better?
Me? Well, I don't know.
Come on, Milo. What's on your mind? Honesty will get you everywhere.
Once again, we see Alyssa Milano as a kind of evil temptress and seductress, and she's topless once again, you know, in this movie that does go straight to video, and I think everyone kind of felt a little bad for her. You know, she was putting an effort out there to try something, but it definitely wasn't successful.
The shocking nudity throughout 1995's Embrace of the Vampire caused quite a commotion and helped put the finishing touches on Alyssa's reinvention. Though the film did little to impress anyone other than pubescent teenage boys, it did help lead to her next softcore skin flick. Poison Ivy 2 saw Alyssa show her assets once more.
Well, you know, a lot of people criticize actresses for doing B-rolls or movies that go straight to video, but the thing is, Alyssa Milano is an actress, and she's been doing this since such a young age. And she's smart, she knows that these aren't great movies, but what she did want to do was work.
She has to be very careful now that she's not now going to pigeonhole herself as being the bad girl from now on. I mean, you know, she's already done a brilliant job of breaking away from the sitcom girl. Now she's in this very precarious position in her career where does she only want to play the bad girl from now on? Does she only want to be the sex pot from now on? I mean, there's a lot more to her. She's a lot more range than that.
In the 3 short years since the end of Who's the Boss, Alyssa Milano had gone from good girl to bad girl. She had made herself viable again by cultivating a sex kitten image. Though the image change kept money coming in, she was not respected in the industry. She was in danger of being relegated to the B-movie graveyard, and there was little reason to believe that she'd ever make it back to the mainstream.